Another top 10 today. We're going to count down the top 10 ways to divorce-proof your marriage. In an earlier video, I gave you the top 10 things that could destroy your marriage. You might want to watch that. Link to it right up there. It'll just queue it up for you to view next. Let's talk today about those top 10 things that you can do to divorce-proof your marriage, starting with number 10. Fix the toilet seat. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, in the other video, I talked about how leaving the toilet seat up is one of the top 10 ways to destroy marriage, meaning being insensitive to preferences and requests, usually reasonable requests of your spouse. Sometimes we dig in and we say, you know what? I'm not going to do that because that's not the way I like it. You know what, folks? If you will just be humble enough to do it her way or to do it his way, because that's simply the way that they prefer it, and that's your whole reason. I'm remembering The Princess Bride. Do you remember that movie? And as he's tumbling down the hill, he says, "As you wish." And it's that kind of a mentality. When I say fix the toilet seat, I mean be sensitive to those requests and preferences that your spouse has. Coming in at number 9 on our top 10 list, have fun. Aren't you glad this made the list? If we're not having fun, we're doing it wrong. I'm just saying, I think this should be a joyful endeavor. And we take ourselves far too seriously sometimes. Lighten up, have some fun. Plan some recreational activities that you can do together. Couples who are having fun together tend to stay together. Coming in at number 8, work. It's going to take some work. Don't be afraid of that. It's probably a good sign that it's hard, all right? Because it means that you're doing some work. And while we're on the work, do a little more than you think is your part. You know, we get it in our minds sometimes that, well, this is my job and that's their job. Forget about that. You look at the work that needs to be done in a home, in a relationship, in a household, in a family, and own it, okay? Step up, do a little more than is required. This will go a long way toward divorce-proofing a marriage. Number 7 on our list, be nice. Use some compassion and kindness and empathy in your relationship. I've been so amazed as I've noticed what we can learn from young children. I've talked to a lot of kids in the course of my career and my practice and even in my neighborhood and my family. And they have brilliant ideas sometimes. When I ask children, what do you have to do to make friends? You know what they say? Almost always, be nice. You know what? Mark Gungor is a marriage counselor and a pastor who has a really funny video about men's brains and women's brains. Go look at A Tale of Two Brains. You'll see what I'm talking about. And he sums up his whole marriage philosophy in those 2 words. Be nice. Is it that hard? Now we're going to up it to number 6 on our list, which is choose love. The love choice is summarized in 3 steps. Now, compare that and contrast that to choosing hate, which we talked about in the other video. Choosing love is done by number 1, assume the best. Assume, because you don't know what other people's intentions are. Just take a position on purpose, by choice, that they have good intentions, that they are loving, good, decent people who are trying to do the right thing. Assume the best. Step number 2, practice humility. You don't have to be right about everything. Let go of that and be humble enough to accept that there might be some other ways of seeing something. Be open instead of right. Step number 3, use that creative mind of yours to find ways to enhance and enrich and lift and bless others, especially your spouse. You've got that creative mind. Let's use it to build instead of to destroy. That brings us to number 5 on the list. Practice respect. There is a big difference between people and property. It is very disrespectful to treat someone as a possession or as property, or to put the value of property above people. Practicing respect means that you see your spouse as an intelligent, wise, loving human being who has much to contribute and offer. Honor your spouse as that wise human being. Which brings us to number 4, forgiveness. Now, forgiveness is often misunderstood because it feels like if you forgive someone, what you're doing is saying that what they did that hurt you is okay. No, that's not what forgiveness is. I like to look at it as forgiveness is giving up your demand for a better past. It's not making you feel better about what happened in the past. It's giving back your future, really. So remember that. Forgiveness doesn't fix the past. It gives you back your future. Do this as a gift to yourself and to your spouse, to your relationship, to your family. Now we're up to the top 3. Coming in at number 3 on our list, be humble and willing to change. I've talked before about one of the biggest problems that we run into in a relationship is knowing that we're right. Being humble is where we let go of our need to be right and trade it in for being open. One of my clients, Dave, had this brilliant idea that he shared with me. He said, you know, Dr. Paul, there are 2 kinds of people in this world. There are those who are humble and those who are about to be. I think there's a lot of truth to that. Let's just choose to be humble on purpose and give up our need to be right. Number 2, make it sacred. Now, I'm not talking from a religious standpoint, although there are religious connotations here. To make something sacred, we hold it as being valuable and godlike and holy. What if we made our marriage sacred? That we put it in a place where we acknowledge it as being that valuable. And this means also that we connect with each other on a level of morals and values. And sometimes that will include our religious practices and prayer and church attendance. Those things tend to strengthen and fortify and divorce-proof a marriage. It also implies that we will abstain from profanity, meaning all of those things that would take this sacred thing and throw it in the mud. So profanity includes language, but it also includes staying away from addictive or criminal kinds of behavior. Now, when we broaden that description out, you can see why this made number 2 on our list. And now, number 1, positivity. Yeah, big surprise, right? My whole platform here at Live on Purpose TV is based on this truth, that we get to choose on purpose our position about everything, including our marriage. What if you were to choose on purpose a position that your marriage is good? Now, when you do this, you invite your mind to start looking for and finding and even creating the evidence that that is in fact the case. And there is always an argument for that. Think about this for just a minute. I know that you want your marriage to improve, right? Of course, who wouldn't? And it could always be better. If we want to take our marriage to a place that's better, what's the shortest distance to get to better? If we start from good or if we start from this sucks? Oh, it's farther to get there from bad. You get to start from one of these positions by choice. If you want to improve this marriage, the quickest way to get there is to take a position now that it is good. And from there, we can go upgrade it all day long. And I'll get behind your upgrade. It's important to realize that you're choosing a starting point. And that's why positivity made number 1 on our list of how to divorce-proof your marriage. There is so much that we can do, and I'll bet someone in your world could really use this. I've shared it with you. Now you go share it with them.